Welcome everyone to the second part of my Sculpting 101, in which we're gonna be working on the making of the cute demon and virtual YouTuber Debidebi Debiru. In this part, I covered the detailing phase and the painting of the model, so let's get to it. Hello everyone, I'm Nemesis from Ngo85. Welcome to my channel. If you want to see how I got to this point in the sculpting process, please check part 1 of this video series. The link is in the description. This video will be different than the last one, as it will be more time-lapsed and I will just explain some points since there is much repetitive work already covered in part 1. Also, if you would like to see my process in a more step-by-step fashion, you may want to check the making of Sharky, in which I go more in depth. The goal now is to start smoothing the connections to represent a better transition. To achieve this, I use the clay strips and the smooth brush by pressing Shift. To make a better transition between the horns and the head, I add more mesh with the clay strips and smooth. In the inner part of the horns, I use the scrape brush to flatten the area, seeking that stylized look. Then, with a crease brush and holding control, I can sharpen this area. I smooth in between the horns. I adjust some of the areas with the grab brush here and there. I like how the model starts to look once you have some sharp and smooth areas. To make the teeth more pointy, I use a grab brush with a sharp fall off. Then, with a crease brush, I can sharpen the area. As you can see, this part is much repetitive work in which I focus on the minor adjustments. This is why it's essential to take your time during the blockout phase by making sure that your proportions are correct and that you are happy with the overall look of the model. Then, when you move to this step, it is easier to look closely and refine the model. I don't know you, but while I'm working on stuff like this, my mind is somewhere else, planning how I'm going to paint it, if I should do fur or not, if I should do a minor retopo, and so on. Here I am making corrections to the hands, adding mesh with the clay strips and also adding the pads. There will be another layer of detail and refinement that I do when using the multi-res modifier. Remember to adjust the strength from time to time according to the area and what you're trying to achieve at a given moment. We tend as beginners to work with the same strength the whole time. I remove some of the mesh from the claws by inverting the clay strips holding control. I approach the wings the same way as the rest of the body. Do not rush when remeshing. The lower the resolution, the easier it is to manipulate the mesh. Now I can join all the parts of the wings and smooth the transitions. I was planning to join the wings to the rest of the body, but decided not to do it in case in the future I learn some animation and I want to animate them. With the plane, I start modeling the heart-shaped end of the tail. In sculpt mode, after adding some subdivisions, I can shape it further with the grab brush. In case you would like a more step-by-step video on sculpting, you may want to check this video on my channel. I can then join the parts of the rest of the tail and improve the transitions. For this model, since this is not for production, I will be doing an automatic retopology with the quad remesher. But before I get to that point, with the flat view and the grab brush, I fix the shape of the model. In this view, I'm trying to make sure that there is a good flow among the parts. With the quad remesher add-on, I retopo the whole model, then I add a multi-res modifier with some subdivisions, and with a shrink wrap modifier, I can get back to some of the details I had in the main model. This is the stage in which I start to add the last details. To quickly smooth the model, I use the mesh filter in smooth mode. Then I smooth pressing shift in different areas and start marking the details with the crease brush and adding clay where needed with the clay strips brush. For the stylized look, I continue using the scrape brush. At this point, I'm going around the model refining the details by smoothing and sharpening different areas. I struggled a lot with the neck part as I had different ways to approach this, but I could not decide. So at the end I went for a sphere, shape it in place, and later add some details with a VDM brush. I'm using brushes from a VDM Brush Pack I got from Gumroad. I will leave the link in the description. If you would like me to make a video on how to make your own custom brushes, please let me know in the comments. This way I can quickly add these details. I tried different brushes on the body, but at the end I decided to just leave it as it was. For the next model with fur, I am planning to use the hair system in Blender. Same as with the body, I do an automatic retopology with quad remesher and add a multi-res modifier and a shrink wrap modifier to start adding more details to the wings. Nothing new in here, just smoothing, flattening some areas and sharpening others. With the skin brush, I add some micro details to the wings. With a cylinder, I started working on the bottom teeth. Using the mask brush, I am able to mark some areas of the gum and pull those teeth out with the grab brush. Using a subdivided cube, I can work on the tongue. I save again as I'm happy with the model as it is and I would like to start painting it. If you would like to learn how I do my paintings in sculpt mode, how to use the tools and how to make the painting visible in the render view, you may want to check this video in my channel. Before starting to paint, it was time to replace the eyes, and for this I'm using the best free add-on for this purpose, the tiny eyes. I will leave a link in the description in case you want to check it out. My goal now is to match the eyes with the placeholders. I divided the screen to have the render view on one side and see the end result of the color, as these look a bit different than the one in sculpt mode. I'm still using Blender 3.5, so I cannot sample colors outside of Blender as in the newer versions, so I just open a new space to add the reference so I can sample the colors from there. With the fill tool I can quickly add a base color. The color is not showing in the render view, and this is because a color attribute node has to be plugged first. As you can see, the difference in colors between the render and the sculpt mode is easy to see. This is mainly due to the render area being affected by the lights in the scene. With the fill tool, I just keep dragging the mouse until I get the desired color. Using the mask brush, I can start masking the horns to give them a different color according to the reference. Now I can invert the mask, and with the fill tool and picking a color from the reference, I can start painting the horns with a base color. I repeat the same process for the tail as it has similar color to the one in the horns. To quickly select the tail, I'm using the lasso mask. With the help of the smear tool, I blend the transitions. Time to paint the neck part, and this is just repetitive work. For each part you paint, you need to repeat the same process by applying first the multi-res modifier if there's any and plugging the required node. As you can see, painting in sculpt mode is a straightforward and repetitive process, but one that can give you good results if you are just looking for a model that can be presented with no intentions to be used for production. With the paintbrush and reduced strength, I can start painting the chest and belly area of the model as well as the face. Using the paintbrush, I mark the tattoos. After making the video, I found a way to use stencils for painting, but I will show you that in a different video. With a darker tone, I can add a bit of variation to the horns. Then I work on the tattoos. And that's it guys for the second part of the making of Debidebi Debiru. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to leave your comments and suggestions to improve the channel. Thank you for watching and see you soon.